What's up, YouTube? I'm doing an updated deck profile after I saw the ban list. I realized that my old deck was actually completely out of date, so I'm doing a little updated build. There's a little couple quirky cards in here, and it seems to be pretty fine, except uh, adding more Monarchs would definitely be beneficial. So you can take. I'll talk about cards that can come out and which ones you could replace for bigger Monarchs or regular Monarchs. And yeah, so first of all, we got our one Ether. And sad to see this come down to one, but I can see why it has got an amazing effect, and it's similar to cards that have been limited in the past and even banned. So we have the 3 Erebus, and this card is still an amazing card, still worth running at 3. And you definitely are gonna want its first dumping effect for getting pantheism in the graveyard, um, or just bouncing those cards back to the deck, because that is a very useful effect. We got our one Mobius, the Mega Monarch, and this can become other Monarchs, but I like the spell and trap removal that it gives, so I'm just keeping it in. And we got the 3 Yugioh, the Heavenly Squire, and this card is some people run this at 2, and the other guy at 3. Some people run it the other way around. I'm just running 3 of each because they are great for the archetype. So yeah, 3 Yugiohs, the Underworld Squire. And you can summon what's great about the combo is you can use this to summon this, and then this will let you get a spell back so you can reuse your pantheism. And so that's a really good effect. A really good combo. For one Dark Arm Dragon, this could definitely become a Monarch, but there's enough Darks in here to support it. It can be dead if you draw in the opening hand, but you'll get those 3 Darks in there eventually, so it's nice to have. One Majesty's Fiend, this can become Vanity's Fiend, or another Monarch, but it works with the archetype with the tenacity, so it's nice to have in there. And there's more spells and traps than monsters in this deck, so it's not bad. I'm running one Battle Fader. This could become anything, but it's tribute fodder, so it works. It also lets you basically get another draw phase, and that's always good to see what your next draw will be. I'm running 2 cars. And you could definitely take this out, but I like to draw into the limited cards now, so I'm running 2 of this. And running 3 is probably a little excessive, but running 2, especially with the 1 Pot of Duality, lets you get that nice Pot of Duality card combo off. And running that 1 Pantheism, sad to see it at 1, but at the same time you can search for it with tenacity or with your big Monarchs, so it's not terrible. You'll still see it all the time. So running 1 for 1, and you can discard the cars for this 1 for 1 to summon your Squire, your Yugioh, the Heavenly Squire, or your Yugiohs, whichever one you need to tribute summon. Or you pretty much want the Yugioh mostly, because you can summon the Yugiohs out of the deck with that combo. The 3 Tenacity, you could say that there's not very many targets, but this isn't actually dead very often in this build, and it's important for searching out your limited Monarch cards. So running 1 March of the Monarchs. And this is This is a great card. It's definitely not bad because the fact that it gives universal protection for your big monsters is just too good to not be able to search for. Running that one Monarch Star in 4th. This at 3 was probably a little too broken, but you'll still be able to see it, reuse it in this build, so it's not horrible. You can still run this deck. And since we lost so many cards, we're replacing some of them with Return of the Monarchs. You could take out that Battle Fader and put in another Monarch card, but this lets you search for about 5. I think 5. It's 6 cards in the deck, so you get 3 of these, 6 targets. You're gonna be plussing pretty hard off this card at 3, so it's not bad to have. And this is his Domain of the True Monarchs deck. I mean, it is a Domain of the True Monarch deck because it allows you to summon your big guys much easier with 1 tribute instead of 2. Makes your Underworld Squires more alive, the Battle Fader more alive, and since there's no extra deck, there isn't much of a downside to it. So, running 1 Reinforcement of the Army because it searches through the Edea, and that lets you tour guide out into a big tribute monster. So you're basically running 4 of that key card in this deck, which is not bad. Like I said, the Pot of Duality for card plays is not terrible. You can still tribute summon after you Pot of Duality, so you're not missing out if you're summoning an Erebus or a Majesty's Fiend, or even your bigger Monarch cards and your Mega Monarch or Monarchs if you choose to play more. So 1 Upstart Goblin because it speeds up the deck a little bit. It's not a bad card at all. And moving on to the traps, we have 3 of the Prime Monarch. It's definitely worth running at 3. You could always cut it down to maybe 2 or 1, but you're gonna want 3 because it has a nice graveyard cycle effect. 1 Escalation of the Monarchs. This is a great trap for this Monarch deck. You could search for it, you can banish it, you can just use it as that turn, your opponent's turn Erebus play, not targeting during your opponent's turn. Return 1 of your opponent's cards to their deck, and that could be really powerful for when they maybe summon like an XYZ or do a huge pendulum summon or something like that. Bottomless Trap Hole hits all of the pendulum monsters that they summon at once, so you don't need to run that Pendulum Hole card that gets rid of the pendulums. This thing does the same thing and banishes them too, so it's great. And the fun card of the deck is Triple Mirror Force, and I like running Triple Mirror Force because you always see it. It's a great surprise, and it's basically Raigeki your opponent's field, and you can do it 3 times if you draw them all. So yeah, Triple Mirror Force is just a fun little card I like to splash in this deck as a little bit of a filler. So yeah, that's the whole deck, and with the cards limited, you can still play the deck. It's still playable. It might be maybe a little less consistent with the 1 Ether, but you can search for that with the Return of the Monarchs. So you're gonna be seeing it, and it's gonna be good. So yeah, thanks for watching, and that is the updated deck of September 2016. I think I'm gonna take down the other video, but it's still a cool deck. It's definitely not dead. Thank you for watching.